Today, Top 30 is the only company in the world able to design, produce, set up and manage a top-level competition. Everything within the same company, everything with the trustworthiness and professionalism that an official competition requires. Everything. Top 30. Top 30.
Well, welcome back if you are joining us online now on IFSC.tv. Welcome to Bercy. Welcome back to Paris in France here for the World Championships. We are about to start showing you the men's lead semi-finals. We kick things off with our first athlete from Russia, and that is Evgeny Zazulin from Russia, achieving a score in the qualifications of 12.135, and here he is now just starting off on the wall. This our semi-finals route, total of 57 holds all in all. Some very interesting things to come. Welcome if you are joining us. My name is Daniel Finn, and welcome back to the feed. If you're joining us on YouTube, do come back over onto IFSC.tv as well, and do join us in the chat room. Any questions you might have, send them in to me as we go through the semi-finals here. So, question in the chat room already there from Lucas. Hiya, Lucas. Welcome back to the stream. This actually happened earlier today while we were covering the women's bouldering semi-finals. This is what was happening at the same time. As you can see there at the very bottom right, there's somebody that's just keeping a double check on what's happening with the the women's bouldering earlier today. So we have we've already had this, but we obviously haven't put it out to you guys. I am live and I'm with you now to answer any questions you might have and talk you through the commentary of this event, the lead semi-finals here in Bercy. Evgeny Zazulin, 21-year-old athlete born in Kaliningrad and now currently lives there. World ranked 76th, this athlete. He's currently just on the 17th and 18th hold. Two hands on that hold make the 18th hold. And also another welcome back to Sheila as well. Sheila, who's joining me now to commentate with you guys in the chat room.
Hi everybody, I'll just be here for a little while. We're going to be doing the rehearsal for the opening ceremony, which will be kicking off at 1800 this evening, Central European time. So no pressure there.
So we are going to be losing Sheila as we move through this footage, but of course we have 3 hours roughly of this, the semi-finals for the men. We have 26 athletes to get through to reduce it down to just 8 athletes moving into the finals for the rest of the event here as well. So hello to you all if you are joining us. How are you? I hope you're all well. Time here currently over in Bercy is just 3 minutes past 2.
As we're watching the events of the men's lead climbing from this morning, outside they're putting together the routes for tonight's ladies bouldering final and the men's bouldering final, and for the para climbing finals. Daniel was saying earlier on that watching these disabled climbers doing what they're doing is really quite a humbling experience, and I think nobody's allowed to complain about their aches and pains anytime over this weekend, because they really do amazing stuff. So Evgeny's working his way up this underhang, and the crossover movement there. He needs to get his feet up to move up to this round thing. He loses his feet, comes back on. Nothing to be worried about there. He's going to have to clip on though onto the right before he goes much further. Must have heard me. Only joking, we're talking to you from the future. This took place this morning, but we're commenting it live because while it was going on, we were watching the ladies bouldering. So we are commenting it live, and there goes Evgeny. He's making a gesture as if to say he was pretty pumped on that, so he'll be quite disappointed, I think. A bonus, hey guys, have you a website where I can find how to do clipping? Well, do you know what? Go along to a local club and you'll have someone who can talk you through it and help you improve all aspects of your climbing. It's the best way.
Well,
Where are you from? Tell us where you're all from on the chat.
The difficulty of this route is an 8C, guys. And I can promise you, as we move through this, the semi-finals, I can promise you that there is some very, very exciting coverage to come, especially as we move into the very final section at the end of this semi-finals for the men's, when the highest ranked athletes from the qualifications come out and join us on this. Our war from Chamonix and our war here at the World Championships over in Bercy.
Eric, the French TV pictures will be the ones that you get from this evening and onwards to tomorrow night for the finals. But it's IFSC that will be doing the commentary on this channel.
So yes, we will be back with you as we move into the finals. The coverage is coming from the French TV, but we will still be here, still streaming to you on IFSC.tv and also onto the YouTube channel as well. So do come and join us for that, and we'll both also be here also to talk through with you what's just going on.
But don't panic, everybody. It's IFSC TV that will be doing the graphics and the live results. And you know what that means? It means you'll get your dance fun facts. So don't panic.
I love how this has become a thing.
A legend in your own lunchtime, Daniel.
Well, a question in the chat there as well from Lucas asking, has Adam already started? No, Adam is one of the later climbers to come out onto the wall, so don't worry too much. You've just joined here, the guys coming through into the semi-finals. This is Kim Jabi now on the wall, right towards the bottom, and he's just moving on to the 9th and 10th holes. There's quite a lot of double holes actually on this route. The 17th and 18th is one, the 25th and 26th is one. And also, as we move towards the top of the wall, 46 and 47, there's 57 holes altogether, and this grading is an 8C, guys, as well. So Kim Jabi now from Korea. We saw another Kim earlier today, did we not?
We certainly did, and she was looking in quite stunning form.
Kim Jabi, a 25-year-old athlete, lives in Goyang City. So if you are joining us from anywhere near there, do let yourselves be known. I saw a lot of you just letting us all know where you were from and where you are joining us from now. Well, welcome to you, and welcome to the world that is now joining us to support sports climbing. This is something that I think has definitely started happening over the past year or so, Sheila. The nationalities that we are joined by in the chat room are astounding. It's definitely a worldwide appreciated sport and a huge following there growing as well.
Definitely, and we've got the 5 continents represented throughout this this competition, whether it be for the para climbing, for the speed, for the lead, or the bouldering, and that will be reflected this evening when we do the opening ceremony. There's 58 countries, I think it is, with about 500 athletes. It really is the major competition of the year and really deserves the title of World Championships because, as I say, the 5 continents are all represented.
Questions as well, just to let you all know who you are with, and here with us in the chat room as well. Welcome. My name is Daniel Finn, and I am joined by Sheila McCarran, a very well-known commentator now after the 2 stints at Briançon this year and last, and also Sheila will be doing the MC side of things for the main stadium tonight in front of over 9,000 people tonight and also tomorrow as well. So get it right.
Yeah, like I say, no pressure. But that's why we're doing a rehearsal this afternoon.
Well, yeah, as we were saying, the seats of this arena are 17,000 seats all in all. A huge arena here at Bercy, built in 1984 by a team of 3 different architects. Right in the heart of the city, remembered by the pyramid-shaped design of the outside of the arena as well.
Do you have any fun facts about how often they cut the grass? Because the grass grows up the side of the...
I actually don't, Sheila. I need to.
You need to get onto that.
Dance
Come
fun
on,
facts a little bit.
Yes, Arcane, that would be me. Salut, Rafi, who's my trainer at the club where I climb with my family. Seeing there was someone on the chat from Brazil there. Welcome to you. I have to say I was particularly touched to see your climber come second in the paraclimbing yesterday with a tremendous achievement considering his level of disability. That really was a fantastic podium to comment. I was honoured to see it. So Javi Kim is down. Looking back up at the route, trying to figure out just what went wrong there. As the camera angle pulls back, you can see some people in the crowd. It's not actually open to the public as such for these semi-finals, but as the different athletes have been knocked out of the qualifying and semi-final stages, they're hanging around to support their teammates, and there's a few parents. Sean McCall's parents have flown over from Canada. I'm sure there are more, but I don't know them all, obviously. So that was nice to meet them and have a chat this morning. The Canadian contingent are on form with a Canadian national record in the speed climbing with Robert yesterday, Bob.
Well, I know he's one of the athletes that does compete in all of the disciplines of climbing, apart from actually here paraclimbing, which is represented, and that's because Sean does not have a handicap. But obviously, we will be bringing you all the finals for the paraclimbing as we move through this event as well. 4 different disciplines here represented at the World Championships. So we now move on to our next climber to come out onto the wall from Slovenia. And that is Urban Primozic, who joins us here. It's bib number 20. You can see he's just starting off there on the 4th and 5th hold. Urban Primozic, only 20 years old, born in Kranj, and as I say every time I mention Kranj, that's where we're going to be later on in this year for another lead event there. So make sure you join us for that one as well. If you're after any information about the events that we cover, get yourself over onto 247.tv and have a look on that page there. You'll have all the information on what events we are covering. We do all the IFSC World Cups and also the World Championships as well. Recently did the World Youth Championship also, and even covered the finals for the Arco Rockmaster this year too. So if you're after any more information, give us a Google and have a look there, and you'll be able to find out everything you need. You can also find out any upcoming events that might be happening near you on the IFSC's climbing calendar this year by going to ifsc-climbing.org. So we are here now with Urban Primozic, world ranked 20th, this athlete, and that's up from 25th from last year, 2011, but currently on the World Cup rankings, he is still sitting in 25th, so just making it into the semi-finals then, really, at
yeah,
present.
but you need to remember he's still just a junior. This is going to be his first year as seniors for real in the next coming season, because he actually came first in the male juniors lead last year in Kranj in Slovenia, and he's often been on podiums in the juniors, and that's him coming into the seniors now. So he's just gaining experience, and this is a fantastic arena to gain that experience in. A senior world championships at 20, that's pretty good going. Obviously we do have younger climbers who are really exceptional. I'm thinking of Enin Janiko, I'm thinking of Momoka Oda and others. Adam Ondra, obviously, but yes, it's a fantastic opportunity for these young climbers to be able to pit themselves against the best seniors and see how they get on.
So yes, just to recap the difficulty, we're looking at an 8C here, and that is information that I have from the head route setter, and that is Adam Pol from Poland, who has set all of the lead routes while we were here. and done quite the job of it as well. We had a really interesting route yesterday, Sheila. You were joining me for the
For the women,
women's
yeah, it certainly was.
semi-finals.
Nobody managed to top it. You can have a look on the replay on the website to see exactly how that went. But we were saying yesterday the best definition I ever heard of the route setter's job was to set a route which only one person would top, or at least that would mean that one person went higher than everybody else, and that's exactly what we had yesterday. Everybody just got fanned out in the last upper reaches of the route and didn't finish it. It was a long, winding route. It sounds like a Beatles song, the long and winding road. It went up and then across and then down and back up, and that's really a killer with, I don't know, it was about 50 moves, wasn't it? So it was relying on strength, endurance. There were some intricate little finger holds to work round and footwork to be sure of, and then pure power moves, and so there was something in it for everyone.
Well, if you are joining us, remember guys that yes, this is something that has happened already earlier today. We are live with you in the chat at the present because we were covering the women's boulder semi-finals earlier, but also remember, if you are joining us and somebody else is in here that hasn't seen this yet, let's not spoil the fun for them and not let them know who makes through to the finals. You can of course find out already who has made it through to the finals by going to IFSC climbing.org. If you want to see that one, you can go over there.
But please, please, please keep it to yourself if you have been over to see, so that the people who are maybe busy this morning and just come in will be able to follow it as if it were live. This is us talking to you from the future. These lead semi-finals, 26 climbers hoping to make the 8 places that will go forward to the final. These lead semi-finals took place this morning while we were broadcasting live the bouldering for the women. So please don't spoil it for everybody else if you have heard in the meantime who has qualified for the final, which will be tomorrow. Here's Domen Skofic, another well-known junior climber. Saw him in the summer at Briançon and then subsequently at the European Bouldering Youth Series, where he didn't do what he hoped. He was looking very good in the qualifiers, and then it kind of all went a bit pear-shaped in the final for him. But very strong Slovenian youth team coming through, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of them later. Obviously following hot on the heels of the likes of Klemen Bekan, we've got Domen Skofic, and we've got Urban, who just was climbing before, so there's Tina Sustersic with the girls, and many others. Of course, they're following on Mina, who is not here. We will have no Mina for the women.
And that is due to a hand injury, unfortunately, which means that she hasn't been able to compete here at the World Championships. We're with Domen now, only 18 years old. I had a really nice chat to Domen over in Singapore just recently at the World Youth Championship, where he medalled in the male juniors lead, took silver there. But just looking back over his previous results, I can tell you that not one of them is below 4th, and there are only 2 that are 4th. So of his 12 best results, 10 of them are podium positions, and in those 10, they are all either
8
gold or
there's 2
silver
silvers,
medal.
yeah. It's fantastic. It's an amazing record, and everybody has, since the male youth category, considered that he was the one to beat, and he has been the one to beat.
And also remember, he's only just moving over into the seniors category. Domen, born in Ljubljana. And I know that a lot of you join us from Slovenia as well, so if you are there, do give us a shout out. Let us know you are watching and supporting Domen as he makes a climb onto the wall. Well, that was the hand that he has there on the blue plateau-shaped feature. That's the 17th and 18th hold.
The great thing about the Slovens, apart from their huge talent at climbing, is their attitude to it. They come over in the summer for, well, I see them mainly in France, obviously, because that's where I live, but they come over to the competitions. They're quite, well, not raucous, but they certainly get into it. They support each other, and they always sing their national anthem with a big grin on their face, and I just find that great to see.
Well, this is the wall that we saw in Chamonix. I know you were joining us, watching us in the chat room while you were there over in Chamonix. Had some interesting stories happen on this wall already this year. We had the shoe bolt incident, which was Jakob Schubert is now being coined as the shoe bolt incident, which is when Jakob Schubert was the one right at the very, very top of the wall, actually reached around the side of a feature and ended up placing his foot on a clip and didn't realise he was doing it.
Yeah, it was in all innocence. He actually had his foot on a foothold, and then when he went to move off, his foot had slipped down onto the bolt, and of course it wasn't deliberate, but it is against the rules, and he got called for it, even though he went on to finish the route and thought he had topped the route going, and therefore was going into the final. He actually got called for it and didn't make it. So that was a big disappointment for him.
A question in the chat room now from Bernie saying, is the chat that I had with Jakob already online somewhere? Yes, it is. You can get that over on the IFSC's YouTube channel. If you type in day one, IFSC and World Championships Paris, on day one there, when we first started off, it's right towards the start of the day, Jakob came over and had a nice chat with me for quite a while, actually. And I'll undoubtedly be talking to him again as we move through the rest of the competition over here. I think as we move into this evening, scheduled this evening, and into tomorrow as well, I'll be out much more often and down on the floor grabbing some interviews for you guys with some of these athletes as they move into their finals.
So here's Domen, I think the first to move over onto this white part of the wall with the red underhang, with the red volume, past his teammate Urban. He's going to need to, oh, that's quite cute. We'll do a no-foot type a swing around. They have to do 180 really to be able to proceed up the left-hand side of this volume. Looks pretty spectacular for people who don't climb, but they seem to take this very much. No, he's starting to suffer. There we go.
There it is. And you could see the left hand that he had up with the three fingers on there.
Extended yet.
A little bit of shake in the hand there. You can see that it didn't seem strong enough on there. He was trying to reset those fingers into it. So people asking who are the route setters. Well, for the lead wall here, we have Adam Paul, who is the head route setter, and he has just done a phenomenal job all the way through this, the qualifications, the semis. And I can tell you right now that he's currently out on that main wall setting for the finals. I just went out and had a brief chat with him in the background. I can hear the cranes moving around as they set for the final. So the arena is currently shut down. It's on lockdown, so nobody can come in and see the routes that are happening at the finals. And we are here. So all these people you are seeing right now have been evicted, as it were, so that Adam can get in and work his magic on the lead wall.
Quite unceremoniously, actually. The few people were still hanging around chatting, and suddenly they just put all the lights out. That was it. It was time to go.
Well, that man actually that just walked past the screen in the suit that you saw there, that was Pierre-Henri, who is the main organizer of the event here. He's been planning this for quite some years. He actually did another interview. I actually did an interview with him when we were over at Briançon. And you can find that also. Bernie, I'm just noticing you found the chat with Jakob. That's great. Yes, there is an interview with Pierre-Henri online that we took over in Briançon. So if you want to go and catch up on that one, it's him talking about the event here at present. Pierre-Henri, obviously a very important member of the IFSC as well.
Yeah, he's technical director in France. He's vice president of the French Federation, and he's the general secretary general of the IFSC. So a pretty important kind of guy. So yet another Slovenian. This time it's Klemen Bekan, who has been a senior for longer than the other two guys we've seen. Klemen is actually trying for the combined title here in Bercy. He's doing the lead as well as the speed and the bouldering, along with Sean McCall and Cédric Lachard and a fair number of other ones. We were trying to remember them this morning, and I was speaking to Cécile Alzou's husband when we came in, and he had it in his mind that there were about 30 women doing the combined, and I said that seemed like a lot. So I don't know. I haven't seen that listing myself.
Can you explain to us how the combined works, Sheila? I mean, we have the 4 different disciplines here. Do you have any idea about whether there's an overall medal for that as well?
Yes, there is an overall title, and there's an overall team title. But for someone who, it would be, in theory, possible, say, to have the gold medal for the lead and the gold medal for the overall title. Jakob Schubert, for example, he was down to be doing the bouldering and the lead, but he decided to concentrate on the lead. But others have gone the other way. Zheng Kim is going for the whole thing, and certainly on the strength of what we saw with the bouldering this morning and her lead semi-final yesterday, I would not bet against her.
Question from Toto asking, is there any Swedish climber in the semi-final? Hiya Toto, thank you for joining us. I don't believe there is in the male category, but I can tell you not only is there a Swedish climber in the women's semi-final, which is of course Soderlund. She has actually made it through into the final as well. So do stay tuned for that, because that is going to be an incredible final as we move through this event. I was actually chatting to the head coach for Sweden earlier today, Carlos, out at the front of the building, and he said he was very pleased with how Matilda's process has been. She's really on form this year.
She is very on form, yeah. I didn't know that much about her before the summer, but I feel like I've been seeing nobody but her since, so that's good. It means she's really on form and making regular appearances in the finals, which is all good experience.
So congratulations, Toto. I know you're excited about that, but I'm imagining you are from Sweden, but there you are. People asking about Magnus Midtbo as well. He's also still to come and climb on this wall.
Well, there's a surprise. Clemen, who is one of the taller climbers and has the reach, missing that dynamic move up to get the handhold on the right-hand side of the underhang. He'll be very disappointed with that. The younger Slovenians, well, at least Domen got that one. I didn't actually see where Urban came off, but certainly Clemen would have been expecting to go further than that. That's unusual for him.
Well, Urban came off on a 41 plus on the it was a 41st hold, and it was also the point that Domen came off on as well. The 30-year-old climber that we've just seen, Clement Betchen, actually just came off on the 32nd hold. And now we move on and are about to be joined by our next climber. And that is another name that has quite a reputation around it and starting to build up more of a reputation. Victor Estela Ocana of Spain. A couple of other Spanish athletes to come later on as well as we move through.
Yeah, there's Edward and obviously Ramon.
So earlier this year at Chamonix, we saw this athlete that is about to join us. There's just a brief look at the wall there. There you can see the bulging section in the middle. What are we thinking of this wall? Do we like this wall? I know that we've already had a chat, myself and Sheila, about this wall and what we personally think about it. And I have to say, I think it's a very beautiful wall. It's an incredible incline as well on this wall. When you consider how high it is and how much it weighs. There's actually a video online if you want to go out and try and have a look at it of the organisers setting up at Bercy, and you can see a time-lapse video of them setting up the stages here with the cranes and how much effort goes into bringing you guys a World Championships and indeed even a World Cup, because remember they do have to set these things up. We had this one at the World Cup in Chamonix. Victor came 21st at Chamonix, but if you want to get that video, type it into Google and have a look at them setting up for Bercy, because it is amazing to see as well.
Victor had quite a succession of good results as a junior, and then he kind of went off the radar for a while. I didn't know him at the time. I think I don't know whether it's been an injury or just sometimes mentally the move up from junior to senior can be difficult for some of the climbers. It's also the fact that quite a few of them are going on to do studies, higher education, and maybe don't get the time to devote to their training, and it makes the passage from junior to senior that much more problematic. But he's back now, and and probably very happy to be in this semi-final. Jonas, no, nobody has topped this route yet. It's seeing off quite a few experienced climbers early on. Klukman in Sheila, I was commenting with Daniel yesterday and at Briançon, and hello and welcome to the chat. Nana, yes, there is an issue with the stream in Germany, but I think if you just refresh it, try and go back into the YouTube stream, it should work. Johnny, why do a lot of climbers train in France? Because we have these small things that we like to call the Alps, which we kindly share with the Swiss and the Italians, but no, there's some very fabulous outdoor climbing sites which obviously are a huge attraction, and the best climbers come over to try and do what they call perfs over here. I know Adam Ondra likes to come. I know Seus is a real kind of mecca for climbers to come over to as well, and Fontainebleau, of course, for the boulderers.
And yes, we've got him still to come, guys, so stay tuned for that one as we go through. Now, I know some of you are struggling to get onto the feed in Germany, and also some people in China as well struggling to get on there. I can tell you, if you go to 247.tv and navigate to the IFSC's climbing page, you can watch it in Germany from there. So you'll be able to go and have a little look there. If you can't find us on this one here, but you'll also be able to stay in the chat and have a conversation with us on that one as well. That is actually out of our hands, I'm afraid. That's an issue with YouTube and those two countries.
Entschuldigung, Gandhi und Igu, ich habe schon die Alpen in Österreich und Deutschland vergessen. Sorry to have forgotten you, German-speaking alpiners. Unforgivable.
This happens every time I leave Sheila on the mic. She starts speaking a different language each time, which is incredible. So
thank you, Gandhi.
Sheila not only now apparently speaks German, which is a fact that I'm just finding out right now as she starts to talk German. She's also fluent in French as well as English.
No, my German isn't as good as my French, by any means.
Well, welcome if you are joining us. This is the semi-finals for the men's lead climbing set by Adam Pohl, this 8C level difficulty route. And we are about to be joined by our next climber as Victor Estela Akana moves away from the wall.
Baobab, the route is an 8C, and it's proving problematic for quite a number of the climbers so far. We haven't had any tops. Obviously, they're coming out in reverse order of qualification, so we expect that as we go through the climbers, they'll get higher and higher and a sort of crescendo type finish, and that the last climbers should get to the top. But that's all on paper. In reality, obviously, anything can happen.
Well, so while we wait just briefly for Thomas Tauporn to grace us with his presence, let's kick things off, as I am prone to do, with a dance fun fact. Well, there it is. There's the little jingle. And this one here is going to be about 20% of French territory lies outside of Europe. Just an interesting fun fact for you there. As we move on with our next climber, Thomas Tauporn. Now, this gentleman has had a very interesting year this year. Also competing in the bouldering. He took bronze over in Logdragomer at the start of the year, and has kind of struggled since then, really, to kind of pull himself back up onto that level.
I know somebody in the chat room called Pala who'll be expecting him to do his absolute best. He knows him personally, so Pala, come on, I want to see you rooting for him. Yeah, Thomas is a strong climber, but quite seriously, I don't think that it's a counter performance on his part so much as the fact that everybody else has just got a great level, and the competitions have all been very tight. Gileggio, I have to say that's exactly the kind of look we were going for. So thank you for the perfect comment.
Well, here we are with Thomas Tauporn now of Germany. Some extremely strong climbers within the German team, though. I speak quite regularly to Udo because he's just a great guy to end up chatting with. We could just talk for hours. His passion for climbing, I think, is kind of unsurpassed. He's always smiling. He's always enjoying what he's doing. And he was talking about the climbers that they have here. Well, we've got Jan Hoyer, remember, into the final for the men's bouldering to come. We had the unfortunate incident of Julia not actually making the final for the women's bouldering earlier this morning. Julianne Worm, who had a lot of hype earlier in the year, especially when we were in Munich.
Yeah, she really seemed to be lifted by the home crowd, and honestly, her not being in the final for the bouldering is a real shock. But her and her very good friend Melissa Leneve, who speaks excellent German, they work a lot together, and the two of them will be, I'm sure, consoling each other in a quite literally sob on each other's shoulder kind of way. It's really a big surprise.
Well, I know we just had that brief chat a moment ago about having a little listen at the chat I had with Jakob Schuber. If you're still watching that, do let us know how you found it. So any of you, if you are watching in the chat room, can also head over onto YouTube and load up the footage from day one and have a look at what we got up to when we first started the qualifications. I know that actually we were just talking about Melissa Leneve, where I actually had a chat with her during that day as well. So at some point during day one, there was a chat with her as she went through the qualifications for the bouldering. Was talking about how she was feeling in general moving into the competition.
You see Thomas Tauporn doing a different kind of method here.
He looks extremely shaky.
Somewhat scrabbly, it has to be said, but
it looks a little bit desperate, I will say. But at the moment, he's there.
No, he ended up completely back to front there, and seemed to just panic.
Very, very quick there as well. I think he needed to take a little bit more time there.
His swing over to the red volume, underneath was fine, and I thought, oh, that looked really clean and precise, and then it just all went wrong.
And he's back down on the ground now, and that is the end of his climb there. And we get prepared to bring out our next climber. Thomas Tauporn there with a score of 40 plus, the German athlete.
And as you can see, this is no longer Thomas Tauporn. We've got a Japanese climber, and honestly, his body language is hilarious. He's looking kind of with slumped shoulders, side on at it, as if to say, what on earth? So we'll see what he does. So it's Akito Matsushima, I nearly got that, who's out and running. Gamba Gamba, as they say. He's I always feel the other Japanese climbers are a little in the shadow of Sachiyama, who's just had such a great season, but they're coming on.
Well, Akito and Matsushima now starting off. This is the 13th to 14th hold. 30 years old, Akito Matsushima, which surprises think both of us, doesn't it?
Yes, I just saw that on his detail sheet, and frankly, he doesn't look a day over 29. No, I'm only joking. He doesn't look 30, and
But I think the same could be said of Cecile that we were talking about earlier as well. This is something that I was saying as this is a fabricated fact which I'm trying to make into a real fact, which is that actually climbing makes you stay young for longer.
sort of a Dorian Gray type experience, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Wilde knew what he was talking about. He just took the metaphor and turned it into a painting.
Well, there you go. Before his time. Proving the time travel theory too. It's all coming together here today. We're putting all the bits together.
So what do we think of this route so far then, Sheila? The way that it is, again, moving over to the left-hand side. I'm hoping that Adam is going to do something interesting as we move into the finals. Though, of course, this is
Adam
interesting.
or A.N. Other.
Pardon?
Adam or A.N. Other. You're saying Adam. I thought you were talking about Adam Ondra doing something interesting with this.
No.
Oh, I beg your
I'm
pardon,
talking
I
about
misunderstood.
Adam Poll, who is the
I
head
see,
route
I see.
setter here.
Beg your pardon.
The routes for the men's semi-finals that we're watching now, and for the women's semi-finals,
Yeah.
very similar. Starting off on the right-hand side at the bottom of the wall, and then moving across the crux in the middle there, that bulge that comes out at us on the middle of the wall, to then end up on the top left. Both very similar. The men's undercutting the bulge though, and the women's right in the middle. That really dangerous section there for them that split our athletes from the off.
It's 8C, Ryba, just to quickly answer your question. Yeah, I think the idea is we start off with a bit of slab just to get them into the run of it. Then we take them up the underhang, which is obviously quite a strain on the arms and the abdominal muscles. Tire them out a bit. Then there's this complicated. You really have to commit to it. Precision with your feet, precision with exactly. You need to know exactly how you're going. You can't waste time with this. You see, he's kind of going backwards and forwards. I wouldn't have rested there myself, but that's fine. Better that than panic and get it wrong for the rest of it. He certainly doesn't seem to be panicking as much as Thomas Taupong did at the same level.
No, not at all. I mean, he's moving fast, but the handholds that he had there on those last two looked a lot firmer than Thomas Taupong.
And he's not as pumped as Domin Skofic was at this stage either for a 30-year-old. And now he's coming on to what appears from our camera angle, as he just went off, to be an upright section, but actually it's a wicked overhang still. And this is all a huge toll, because obviously you have to close the arm, get your legs up and push up and so on and so forth. Well, yes, they do train in volume for this kind of thing, but it's a long route. The fact that it starts on one side and goes over, obviously you gain in the number of handholds that you can put up onto the wall, and what would be quite a long route for the common mortals such as ourselves to go up one or other side. They're actually going from right to left in order to, as I say,
so
add some length to this. So there's
it's going to add an extra couple of meters in terms of wall length. This overhang, as I was saying, there's the section we're talking about now. There's the top that we want to reach to. Again, that goes into an even steeper incline after that section that looks relatively straight, but no, it's not. The wall averages out at around 30 degrees on the incline, which is quite drastic. It's
fairly drastic. And those two last handholds, did they look like jugs to you? I don't think so. In other words, on an underhang like that, if you really don't nail the hold, obviously gravity is just going to pull you off, and they really are not jugs.
It's a very, very long route, 57 holds all in all.
No MI, nobody has sent the route so far. We're working up through the qualifiers from the qualifiers into the semis in reverse order. So in all logic, the last people to come out should be the ones that get higher and higher as we go through. But anything can happen. We've seen people come off prematurely. I'm thinking of Clement Bacon, for example. So now we have another climber out who is not Akito Matsushima, because we just saw him.
No, we move on to our next climber who is from Korea. And that is Min Hyun Bin, or Hyun Bin Min, depending on how you want to pronounce him.
That's
who
right.
I'm finding hard to recognise actually as he came out then, because he had his back to us, because he's had a haircut. It was dyed and very bright
I
colours.
was going to say he used to be the guy you just couldn't miss.
No, yeah, because he lit up like like a traffic light as he walked through and onto the stage. But
That's true.
but no, sorry, I did not recognise him then as he came out onto stage. But here he is, Min Hyun-bin, the Korean athlete. People asking us in the chat room now, are these comments live? Yes, guys, we are still with you now. People asking when we answer questions and things. Well, if you keep them coming into us, you might have missed a couple of questions. Then just keep them coming in on the chat room. If you're joining us on YouTube now for the coverage of the men's semi-finals lead competition, get yourself over to www.ifsc.tv and come and join us in the chat room where we can answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, Nigel, and they do get to see the route before they come out on the arena. There's an observation time for all climbers as a group to come out, all 26 semi-finalists, and they have a look at this, and they quite often discuss it together, which I know surprises people who are maybe more used to other sports where you kind of reckon it should be every guy for themselves. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you read it. If you both read it, it's the better climber that will do the better job, barring accidents, obviously. And quite often in the competitions, we see different nationalities discussing the routes together, and that's really cool to see.
It's always something that I like doing when they come out, especially in the bouldering as well. When there are fewer of them, you get to really see who pairs up with who, and it's nice to try and guess who's talking to who when they try and start to discuss the routes, because they get that time, the observation time, in the final of the bouldering as well, which we'll see later on through the competition. Welcome if you are joining us. This is the coverage of the men's lead semi-finals from earlier today, when we were showing you at the present time something which is happening just to the right of the wall in the past, which was the women's bouldering semi-finals. Welcome if you're joining us. My name is Daniel Finn. And I'm here with Sheila McCarran as we take you through the men's lead semi-finals at the World Championships here in Bercy. A question there from Greg. Do the route setters actually top the routes themselves? And if yes, how many attempts do they usually need? That's a really, really interesting question because, well, the thing is, can you imagine having to set this wall over a period of 2 to 3 hours to make sure that it is right? No, I wouldn't imagine them to do consistent runs up the wall to set the next hold. And can you imagine how often they'd have to come down
Not
and
on the
pick
day,
up the
anyway.
next set of screws?
Yeah, not
or
on the
drill?
day. No,
And
they do plan it ahead of time, and they do have climbers who come and test it. Usually these are former top-level climbers, but who maybe come on a bit in years, and you know, obviously if they could do it, the world champion probably could run it. They can do it in stages, shall we say.
But Jack, yes, that's exactly what Sheila's just saying. They do try every single move. They go up with the cranes or on the ladders because it would just be impossible. I mean, it's almost impossible to climb when you've got 4 limbs to work with. Can you imagine doing it with a drill in one hand? I can't even get off the ground on these things. The route setters are expert climbers themselves, remember, but you just get so tired over that period of time, making sure that the route is well set. And they have done a phenomenal job here as well. Our route setters have been really good throughout most of our year. Actually on the IFSC World Cups and now into the World Championships.
That's right, but what you have to also bear in mind is the athletes who are climbing these routes have been training almost single-mindedly with this championships in mind, and they are at the top of their physical form. The route setters have been working night and day to figure out what routes they've been doing to actually put them up, which is a physical job in itself. So, you know, They know what's required of the athletes, and they hope that they get it right. You were talking about the doubt yesterday, Daniel. They hope that they get the level right, so that at the end of the competition, only one guy or one girl gets to the top, or at least gets higher than the other climbers. And that is seriously a huge ask.
Well, going higher than the other climbers is definitely something that's happening right now with Min Hyun-bin. Moving on to this section that we were talking about earlier that looks flat but isn't. It's still on an incline, and it goes into even more of an incline as we move up here as well. Yes, do remember, guys, if you are joining us in the chat room, frustration gets you nowhere.
Well, it does. It gets you kicked off.
Well, it does actually. Frustration gets you everywhere, but not in the right direction. Yeah, to talk about the route setters, actually, what we were talking about just a second ago. Adam Cole, who is now, actually right now, as we're talking to you, setting the routes for the finals in the main arena, where this was happening earlier today. When we were getting towards the end of the day yesterday, due to some technical difficulties, which took 8 hours to sort out the clocks for the speed wall during the qualifications, took 8 hours to trace the cables back and make sure that the clocks were going to work. They had to rerun a lot of the qualifications as well. Well, during that time, Adam and the team of route setters had to wait to be able to reset the wall because the public and some of the climbers were still in the arena, which meant that as we were kind of coming towards the end of our day at about 11 o'clock, the route setters were just starting to set the route that you are now watching on this lead wall. I watched him go up yesterday, and it must have taken them a good 3 to 4 hours. So this just shows you how hard the route setters work.
Yeah, some of these guys, the bags under their eyes are better jugs than the handholds. But to answer a couple of questions that are coming up here, how does it work with the belayers? Are they paid? How do you become a World Cup belayer? No, these are volunteers, and they get special training, and they get what's the word? Specially selected to do it. The judges all wanted to judge here, and they all got selected as well. Not just anybody gets to judge, but the same with the belaying. We have to obviously be sure that nobody's going to let one of our prize climbers injure themselves by falling further than they should, for example. So here's Thomas Joannes. Thomas Joannes, he's from the Department of the Rhône near Lyon, which is where I'm from. He's not in my club, but I keep trying to work on it. He does come and train with us every now and again, which is great. He's an extremely young climber. He was very disappointed with what he did in Singapore, unfortunately. But he came third in the French championships this year, and that's what earned him his place here today. Hugely promising climber, as I say, but perhaps lacking experience in the big event.
So yes, only 17 years old, Thomas Johannes. World ranked 52nd. Currently on the World Cup rankings for this year, 2012, he is 28th at present. He came 8th in the male juniors lead World Youth Championship over in Singapore just over a week ago. I was there. Again, if you want to catch any of these replays, guys, you know where to find them. Head yourself over onto the IFSC's YouTube channel. Some of you might even be there right now watching us on the live stream. If you are, hello to you. Do come and join us in the chat on ifsc.tv as well. Another thing that I have to plug at every single given opportunity is for you guys to get yourself onto Facebook. I was talking to Marco, the president of the IFSC, just recently in Singapore about how we can support climbing, making it into the Olympics, and also about the reason why it should be in the Olympics. And I'll get onto that with you, Sheila, in just a few moments' time. But for those of you wanting to support the Olympic movement for 2020, climbing is shortlisted as one of seven sports altogether. Sorry, so we're one of 6 other sports there. Get yourself onto Facebook and type in Sport Climbing 2020 and click like on there for me. And I want to try and get the likes on that Facebook page up to 7,500 by the end of this World Championships. So help us to get climbing there. Now,
the question's quite simple. Do you want to watch softball or karate, or do you want to watch climbing? And if you want to watch climbing in the Olympics, then do what Dan just said.
Well, the thing I wanted to get onto actually with that whole discussion is the fact that I was actually talking to Marco about the 6 basic aspects of human ability and what sport really boils down to at its base. And obviously the first ones that leaped to mind, well, they were in my mind anyway, were running and swimming, both very heavily represented in the Olympics, so multiple events in the Olympics for running and swimming. Oh, unfortunately, Thomas Johannes coming off.
Just come off at exactly the same place as coming back in.
Relatively early there. I think that was around the 32nd hold. Such a shame, but that marks the end of Thomas Johannes' climb. So yeah, we're talking about the 6 basic aspects of human ability. Let's see if you guys can get them. The first 2 that I could think of were running and swimming. let's see if any of you can think of some of the other ones for a moment, and then I'll tell you the ones that we came up with. So yes, Elisa has got one of them there. So running, swimming, and throwing. So throwing is a basic human, motivational-based, sport-based action. We have running and swimming and throwing. I'll start to tell you some of the other ones. There is lifting in there as well, jumping, and then of course climbing. And I can tell you now that all 5 of the other basic human movements are very heavily represented by a multitude of different sports at the Olympics. Climbing is the only one of the basic human sports-based movements that is not represented at the Olympics, and that is why I am pushing so hard for this to be in 2012, because I can tell you now that I am baffled by it not already being there. It definitely deserves to be there, and with the following that we are now gathering as well.
Well, if you consider that the Olympic motto is higher, faster, stronger, then you get it all. Because here at Bercy, we've got higher with the lead climbing that we're watching, stronger with the bouldering, and faster, obviously, with the speed climbing. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be in the Olympics, but obviously I'm just a little biased. The other thing, one of the things that might work in the favour of climbing is its universality. It really is something that is practiced all over the world. I was saying earlier on, all the 5 continents are represented here. Softball. Who plays softball? It's essentially an American continent thing, and I think in the Far East, but I don't think it has the following that climbing and other sports might have. No offence to any softballers out there, obviously.
Sheila getting heated.
No, I'm retro-pedaling as we speak on the softball comment. I think I'm going to make some enemies.
Well, we are here now with Valery Kroyakov of the Ukraine. A lot of very strong Ukrainian climbers as well. There's Olga Shelozhina, obviously, that had the injury in the women's category earlier in the year, this year. But there's also Mikhailo, who's another very strong Ukrainian climber. We're here with Valery Kroyakov now, and just look at the shapes and the different dimensions of that wall. And remember as well at the same time that it is on that huge inclination as well, leaning out over this stadium. It's actually hard for anyone that might be the coaches that are trying to watch from the bottom of the wall. We actually watched one of the coaches yesterday going through with the power climbing section, slowly getting further and further towards the edge of the stage. He actually had to be spotted himself.
Yeah, I think a couple of people were doing the old holding up their hands as you would for someone who was bouldering to make sure he didn't fall off the edge. So Kroyakov getting past the move that saw of Clement Becken and Tomasz Johannes. Sorry if you can hear an engine noise in the background. That's the cranes working on setting up the lead climbing for later on tonight.
Well, this.
Valery's decided to go another way
altogether, there.
Using his amazing upper body strength to campus his way around this volume. That's.
That is incredible. Those holds obviously must have quite a bit of give on them then. Must be able to get a decent hold on them. We've seen quite a few athletes spinning around on those two, yep. So there is a point there with a little bit of respite for the hands, but then it's straight into these two here, just next to it, 40 and 41, and these are really, really hard. They're not necessarily crimps, but they're right with the end of your fingers.
Looks to me, yeah.
There you can see what the kind of effect that's having on them.
I could see him, he was kind of tutting at himself, thinking, I haven't got this quite right, and I think he was thinking about maybe skipping the leftmost hold to go straight up onto the one above it, and then obviously that wasn't going to happen, and down he came. I think the no foot, as we call it over here in France, the campusing around the volume, that's quite good, but not everybody's going to feel happy doing that. And obviously the grip that you have on a hold depends on the angle that you're holding it from. What might appear like a bad handhold if you're holding it laterally can actually hold quite well if you're under it. But
Well, apologies if there was quite a lot of noise in the background there. That is due to the route setters setting up on the wall out in the main arena as well. Or actually a point there from Jack saying our main problem is that lead climbing is not very attractive for non-climbers. I'm not sure how much I would agree with that one. I can tell you that if you are there during the action, and I do hope it comes across as well to you guys if you're watching it on the live streams, if you are there at the bottom of the wall, there is nothing quite like knowing that this athlete that is hitting some problems at that point in the wall has to push up to the next 2 holds or make the next move to be able to outdo the previous climber. The atmosphere at these kind of events just becomes electric as you move into the finals.
I think, yes, Candy, you have a point that the camera coverage is key. If you have sports where they just have a big, large plan on the whole thing, and you don't get to see the handholds close up and see just how small those can be, and you don't get to see the grimaces of the climbers, that could be quite boring, I guess. But as we saw, for example, in London, the coverage of all the different sports was just phenomenal, and they really pulled the stop out to get as many camera angles as possible.
Okay, well, this is what's going on at the route at the moment, down out in the auditorium. And we rejoin now back with the action with our next athlete coming out onto the wall.
All the results are on ifsc-climbing.org. Check it out. So here's our second Spanish climber of the semi-finals. It's Edward Marin Garcia. We saw Victor earlier on, and we'll be seeing Ramon later on again. The degree, as you call it, of difficulty is an 8C.
The paraclimbing results, some of you are asking about the paraclimbing results. There is another final coming up later on this evening. If you are after those results, you can get over onto ifsc-climbing.org, go onto the calendar section on the tab on the left-hand side, click on that one there, and it will bring you up onto the calendar page. While you're on there, get down to the World Championship section and click on paraclimbing there, and you will be able to find the results from yesterday. If you want to see the medal ceremony and see exactly how the paraclimbing got on, extremely inspirational to watch these athletes. You can go and watch that on YouTube now. That is already up on YouTube, so you can go and see that one as well. A couple of other questions just to catch up with some of the other questions that you guys were asking. Sheila, are we climbers?
Yes, my whole family climbs. I've been largely surpassed by my children, but given my advancing age, and I only started climbing 4 years ago to overcome my fear of heights. But I coach 7s and 8s, but personally I just don't have the arms for it.
But I believe you climb at the same gym as quite a few of the French climbers.
Yeah, Thomas Ballet and Swana Bjarnason, I can't even say her name now, Bjarnason are members of my club, and we very regularly see the other French national climbers. Charlotte Durif comes and trains with us, Hélène Janico is a personal friend of mine. Romain Desgranges has become so over this past year. I've got to know him better and better, and Manu Romain, of course, this whole family are just wonderful.
And then to answer your question as well, I actually started climbing when I was about 7 years old, back over in England, but just for fun with my father when I was younger, and then didn't climb for a really, really long time. And I've actually only been starting to get back into climbing again in the past year or so, really, since I've been starting to cover the IFSC TV feeds with you guys as a commentator, so it's kind of a matter of me relearning everything really to try and get back into things. But yeah, I will only answer that I climb badly. That's how I climb.
My club is Club Vertige near Lyon, Seb.
Well, unfortunately, that ends Edward Marin Garcia's climb now for Spain. Don't worry, still another athlete from Spain to come, and I can promise you that is something to get excited by. We move on to our next climber now.
No, Johnny, Sean McCall does not train with us, much to our disappointment. He lives down in the southwest of France in Toulouse, and we're a bit further north and over towards the early Alps. But we do see quite a lot of him, obviously, on the circuit. With my family, we try and get to as many of the French Cup and Championship meets as we can. And because Sean's in France, although he can't become French champion because he's not French, he can participate certainly.
Well, I hope all of you are enjoying the coverage as we wait for Mario Lechner to come out onto the stage and attempt the 8C route for the men's semi-finals. I can definitely hear a lot of noise now from the centre of the arena where the route setters and the technicians are getting set for this evening's coverage. Don't go anywhere, guys. Make sure you get a lot of coffee or whatever you can in for the evening, because we're going to be in here for a long haul. A lot more action still to come today. Another paraclimbing final to come later on today. And as we move through into the rest of the evening here Saturday, the 15th of September 2012 at Bercy, we are looking at a paraclimbing final, the number 2 final, and then the lead female final later on this evening, and then the speed female final just after that to follow, moving right into the evening and night. In fact, there's another point, interestingly enough, from somebody in the chat room saying I love Austrian climbers. Some of my best friends are Austrian climbers. I love the Austrian climbers as well. I had a really nice chat with Jakob. I like Heiko as well. Heiko's a really lovely bloke, who's the head coach for the Austrian team, but also just such a very diverse, powerful team. All of them there. Climbing is so well loved in Austria. There's also Lucas Endermosser, Max Rudiger. There are some of the youth athletes as well that are moving up too.
Yeah, there's real strength and depth in the Austrian team, bouldering lead, and the seniors and the youth that are coming through. You were talking earlier about Jakob Schubert's sister Hannah. But there are many more. There's some really strong climbers. Joanna Ernst is now in the seniors, but when she was a young climber, she just took everything that was to be taken in terms of titles, and then came through. There's a real support for them. It's the national sport there now. It's taught in schools, and they've invested in it in every sense of the word, in terms of finance and staff to train. Of course, they do have the other aspect, which is the natural sights of those Austrian Alps that I omitted to mention earlier on in the commentary.
Yeah, very beautiful country down there. Well, here is one of those Austrian athletes now. Mario Lechner comes out onto the wall and is currently around the 30th hold, which is the one he's just put his left hand on there as he pushes up around the outside edge of this wall here. Mario Lechner, I can see Sheila getting anxious because I know you're going to have to go and start doing a
yeah, I'm just waiting for the call to say we're about to start the rehearsal for the opening ceremony. Jonas, I'm seeing as I'm just speaking to 45 seconds. When you come out, start your route, you have 45 seconds.
Well, 21-year-old Mario Lechner now from Zul, world ranked 10th. World Cup ranking this year alone is 13th already in the year. World Cup rank at the end of 2011 was 10th, and the World Cup rank at the end of 2010 was 19th. So this is what I'm talking about. You can see the flexibility there from one of the male athletes. It's not just the women that can do the splits halfway up a wall.
You
Mario
certainly don't
Lechner-
want to stay there for very long. That is not a very comfortable rest position. You can see he's trying to figure out how to get out of it.
But you can also see that he keeps twisting his legs. He's obviously, one starts to get shaky, and he's
Yeah.
changing the drop knee all the way through. Switching sides, well, he's going to get onto these that are a little bit nicer, these holds.
One hand job there, that was quite impressive. Shows that he's confident in his hands and he has the strength to do it, but does he run the risk of burning up too much energy with that kind of move?
So an 8C difficulty wall here. That's the 41st hold that he's just got a hand on. And if he can get up onto the next section of the wall, he starts to push himself into the higher ranked climbers so far. No top so far in this coverage that we're bringing you. So question for you guys now, if you're joining us in the chat room as well. If there is going to be a top here, who do you think it is going to be? If there is going to be a top, who do you think it is going to be? No cheating. If any of you have been over and had a look at ifsc-climbing.org, as this is an event that has happened already today, although we are live with you at present, I'd be interested to know who you think is going to top this wall.
So Mario just struggling to make the move out of the roof onto that next handhold. You could see there was like an irresistible call of gravity on that last move there. Unfortunate for him.
Well, we've got some cries coming in from the chats of Schubert. We've got cries of McCall, of Ramonet, quite a few, and also Andra. Interesting to see Andra back with us for this one as well, because he's been kind of missing so far this year. We haven't really seen much of him, any of him really.
No, he's been concentrating on outdoor performances, but he did show up at Arco. I kind of felt as a warm-up to this. And he had a bizarre rest on the lead route, final lead route, with a kind of a knee jam and came off, which was kind of strange. Well,
This gentleman is another very interesting one. Made a bit of a stand in the bouldering also. Park Ji-won is here now for Korea on the lead wall, and with the haircut that I would usually expect to see from Min Hyobin.
There's no way this is as fluorescent as his was.
It's not quite as shiny, is it?
It's a subtle one, almost.
Well, very quick to start there. That's up onto only the third hold there.
Tell you what though, Daniel, it says something for Adam Ondra when every competition we've had this year, every World Cup and everything else, somebody or many somebodies on the chat have been saying, where's Adam Ondra? When does Adam Ondra climb? And he hasn't done any of them. So despite his constant presence in the competition, he's really marked people's mind. He is like very present in people's minds as one of the foremost climbers. And yet in competitions we haven't seen that much of him this year. So what's he going to do here?
There's an interesting question coming through on the chat room now, which I'm going to bridge. I want to discuss this one with you, Sheila. There's a question from Jack saying, Daniel, Sheila, do you have any idea why there are so few black climbers? I have no idea why we don't.
No, I have no idea. You can say the same thing about quite a few sports. Swimming springs to mind, because I'm an ex-swimmer myself, and I didn't see very many in the Olympics at all. I know we've got some Nigerians here in South Africa. There's some great bouldering sites apparently, but frankly, don't know.
Well, I have to say that Mike, our producer, is just saying that because we've kind of all re-kicked into climbing again this year. Mike's down at his gym just recently, and Mike was saying that his gym, there was a lot of black climbers there that were all exceptional. It'd be interesting to see whether we see any of them moving over into the World Cups as well as we go through the rest of the future of the sport.
Black people have heavy bones. Is that actually a medical fact? I think we want to watch what we're seeing in the chat room,
Obviously coming
guys.
in from the chat room there, that's an interesting one. Yeah, so we're not exactly sure on that one. I'm not quite sure why.
Now you see, you mentioned sports, elite sports. Now, I would defend the argument that climbing is not an elite sport. Name me a kid that doesn't like climbing on a boulder, even if it's in a pair of crappy trainers. Swimming, you can easily go and train in a swimming pool. It's not that expensive. There's very little specialized equipment. If you compare that to equestrian events, for example, now that's a real elite sport. So I wouldn't agree with you on that one, I'm afraid.
Alyssa making a very good point there as well. We've got Molly for the Brits, who is mixed race, and she's coming up into climbing. So maybe it's going to be something that we see coming through with the younger climbers now as well. The other thing is that a lot of these climbers are a lot older as well. We've started to get this kind of a third generation coming through now of athletes. The second generation being the juniors that are now moving into the senior section, and then there are the athletes that are just starting on the junior ones as well, like the youth cups. So hopefully it's something that we start to see more of.
Well, the French team have a black climber, Massa Bauem. He's Passamauem, sorry, who's a speed climber. So, but yes, he is the exception that confirms the rule. There are very few.
But what I will say, just to bring us back onto track, I know we've kind of deviated a little bit, but I thought it was an interesting thing. It was worth discussing. Just to bring us back on, one of the interesting things for me is the different nations that are represented in climbing, and it is definitely a sport. No matter where you are from, what your backstory is. I was speaking to Callum Highland, who's currently, he was the only Australian climber in the World Championships here. He's actually studying for a PhD at the moment. I can tell you that Maya Vidmar is in the Slovenian army. So people from all over the world, and we had 46, I think, different nations represented in Singapore at the Youth World Championships. And then here, I think it's 52, were you saying that issue? Or 58, sorry, different nations represented here at the World Championships. It is a worldwide sport. It was great to see as well, actually, a gold medal for India in the paraclimbing yesterday. We don't get to see many Indian climbers.
I have a little story about that. I actually had to leave you and go and do the rehearsal for the opening ceremony. But the little Indian climber, Mr. Kumar, I can't remember his first name, sorry, but he came up and he was looking at the results list, and I actually had to explain to him that he'd won. He hadn't realised he'd won.
Say that one again.
He hadn't realised that he had won. I had to tell him he'd won.
Oh God, that sounds
so sweet.
That sounds all too familiar when we think back to Munich as well with Sean McCall. When I had the information come through to me that we thought he'd taken gold, and then at the end of it, unfortunately, lost out to Dmitry Sharafutinov by attempts on a bonus. Well, I have to bid farewell. We have to bid farewell to Sheila now as she goes to get ready for later on. So we're just going to say goodbye.
Okay, bye everybody. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for staying with us. And by no means go anywhere, because this evening it's going to be fantastic. Bye.
And of course, hopefully Sheila will be back with us later on tonight. She has to go off now to get prepared for the opening ceremony later on. Well, we're going to cut things here because it's a cleaning of the wall. So yes, this is Adam Poll actually. He's our head route setter, you can see cleaning the wall there. But we're going to jump from here and move on into the future, because we can do that as this is a replay. So we don't have to sit through the cleaning of the wall. So let's do that momentarily for you now. So a question for you guys in the chat room as well. In terms of this year, what has been the most exciting event that you have either been down to join or have watched on IFSC.tv? What is the one for you that has made it interesting for you guys to watch? Well, guys, we are now back with our next athlete, and another one to watch out for, Mikhail Chernikov, another name that is well known and is becoming more and more well known as we move through this season. Mikhail Chernikov of Russia, 27-year-old athlete, born in Grozny, world ranked 13th. World Cup ranking this year so far, though, in 2012 stands at 8th, and then at the end of last year was 14th. The year before that was 13th, so he's been holding around the teens section for a good 3 years now. Of his 12 best results, just to give you some of the more recent ones, at Chamonix he was 4th. If you remember that one, if you came and saw that event, that was out in the rain when we had a sea of umbrellas, 10,000 people, the crowd, 10,000 strong the crowd was there, all out in the pouring rain with their umbrellas. I was sitting out there with them, with my parasol, battling the elements, trying to talk to you guys in the chat room. 11th place at Briançon as well in 2012, and also at Imst, 11th place this year as well, Mikhail Chernikov. People asking where is their start list that you can see to see who is coming out next. We'll just click on the details tab. If you're joining us here on IFSC.tv, click on the details tab, and there you'll be able to see a start list and exactly who is coming out next. And another question in the chat room saying, are we going to cover the bouldering finals? Well, of course we're going to cover the bouldering finals. We're going to cover every single final for you here over at the World Championships in Bercy. And this is a replay that you're currently watching, and this is a replay due to the fact that there is so much going on at the arena here that is impossible to cover all things at once for you. We were recording this earlier today while we were watching the female bouldering semi-finals. Did any of you join us for that one? Because there was quite an interesting surprise there. In that one, some interesting boulders and interesting results as well. If you want to catch it, go over onto IFSC's YouTube channel and have a look on that one there. As I've said before, any questions that you might have, do send them in to me. There's a question they're saying, where can we find the time-lapse video of the setup on the wall? If you go onto Google and type in Bercy setup, indeed I think it might even be on YouTube as well. If you type in setup for Bercy, there will be a video around on there. Hopefully you can find it, which is the sped up setting up of the arena here. It's definitely worth seeing the amount of effort that goes into bringing you these productions. Well, unfortunately that is Mikhail coming off the wall there. It looks like we've got this huge division between athletes that are either coming off around the 32nd hold or the 41st to 42nd hold. No one really pushing up into the very high sections on the wall. Athletes getting cut off before that final third section. Well, I hope all of you are well as you join us here at Bercy Stadium. The footage you're seeing here now is the crowd that were watching earlier today. There's actually Udo, the German coach, watching, I think would be Julia Worm over on the bouldering. You can see him in the green shirt at the top of the screen there. There's Dimitri actually just there with the headphones and the red jacket on. Dimitri, who took gold at the World Youth Championships in Singapore earlier. There he is again, a closer shot of Dimitri. I was very, very pleased to take it out there. If you want to find any of the results about that or watch that, go and have a look at YouTube at the pages on there. Well, yes, I know a lot of you were waiting for this athlete to come out and to see his climb today. This is an 8C route, guys, for those of you that are just joining us. We are now joined by Jörg Verhoeven as he begins his climb on the wall. Again, a very well-known athlete is Jörg, 27 years old, lives in Innsbruck, represents the Netherlands though. World ranked 12th, currently 11th on the 2012 World Cup rankings at present. He was 11th at the end of 2011 as well, and he was 10th at the end of 2010. Well, let's hope that doesn't keep going. If you were 10th in 2010 and 11th in 2011, and he's currently 12th in 2012, let's hope that doesn't keep happening as we move through the years. We'd like to see it going down, please, York. Well, this is him around the 25th and 26th hold now. Well, he's just, moving up to the 25th and 26th hold. The blue hold just below him there is the 18th. And just above him, once he gets off this first triangle of the bulge, the crux in the centre of the wall there, he'll be up to the 25th and 26th hole. A lot of double holds on this wall as well. Any of you that are joining us as well, please remember that some of the people that are joining us have not seen the results. They do not know and do not want to know. We are streaming this to you now for the first time, and I'm with you and I am live with you guys in the chat room. So please don't tell anyone in the chat room that it is joining us and want to see how these guys get on without knowing the results. If we see it happening too often, unfortunately you will be banned from the chat room, because these guys want to see this for the first time, and also it's my first time as well, and I don't want you spoiling the fun for me. So this is Jorg now, currently on the 34th hold and 35th. His left hand is on the 35th hold, and he's going to have to start moving over to the overhang section that we saw dividing our climbers earlier. And let's see how Jorg gets on here. If you're hearing a bell in the background and thinking, what is going on? That was the time limit, surely you should be getting down. Remember that the bouldering is going on at the same time as this. That's why we're bringing it to you now. That bell is not the end of the time limit. That bell is the 1 minute alarm from the bouldering for the women's semi-finals in bouldering that's happening just next to it. Well, that hold just above his head is the 46th and 47th hold. This is the highest we've seen any of our athletes so far today reaching this point. 46th and 47th hold, Jorg Verhoeven, the 27-year-old athlete from the Netherlands, pushing on to the 48th now, 48th hold here. This is going to see him with a very good result indeed. That's the 49th and going for the 50th, so that should give him a score of 49 plus. Jorg Verhoeven, I will try and repronounce that then, sorry, I just had something in my throat. Jorg Verhoeven of the Netherlands. And yes, Zelsis, I am actually counting. I have to do it personally. I think we're about to lose lols, though, from the chat room. I think we're about to lose lols. We're trying to spoil the fun of us all here, who are trying to watch this without knowing who is through. So, goodbye, lols. As we wait for our next athlete, why not kick things off with a dance fun fact? You know, we're going to just up that excitement even more. We get rid of somebody who's doing the wrong thing, and we hit you with a dance fun fact. How about that one? So, France is about the same size as Texas, with twice the population of California. And that is a dance fun fact for you, just to excite things as we move in and wait for our next athlete to come out onto the wall. There you can see the bouldering walls just to the right hand side that will be joining a little bit later on today as we wait for the finals to start kicking off. Our next athlete out now, a man who needs no introduction, it is Manuel Roman. I'm sure if Sheila was here, she'd be doing a little bit of commentary in French to any of you that might be joining us from France at the present moment in time. This is Manuel Roman on the wall now. I can tell you that later on today, remember, we have the bouldering men's final to come, and that is something to get very, very excited about indeed as we move into the latter half of today. So Manuel Roman now starting to move through. And I can see the support there in the chat room pouring in now from you guys. It's great to have you with us here to support climbers from your home turf from all around the world. 58 different nationalities, guys, joining us here. That is an incredible amount of represented countries here, and it's only growing more and more as we move through. A question from Bernie that I've just spotted in the chat room, which I have to answer, is when do you go to the toilet or have a drink? That doesn't happen, in fact. Yesterday, I believe we were streaming for, I think, 12 hours straight. So, yeah, it doesn't always happen that we get to have that time. Unfortunately, Sheila has now had to disappear. I'm probably about to hear her voice over the tannoy in the main arena, actually, because she's practicing for when we open in a little while's time. Is anyone in the chat room joining us that actually have tickets for tonight or for tomorrow? That's what I want to know. And if you are coming down to join us here in Bercy, do make sure you will undoubtedly see me running around at the bottom of the wall like a maniac earlier as we move into the finals later on. So do say hello as I'm running around. I might be busy, but I always like to meet you guys if you are joining us in the chat room. So anyone that does have tickets for Bercy, let me know. Zel says that is correct. I could try talking in French. The most important word in that sentence, of course, being could. We are going to stay with Manuel Roman now as we move through this one. Now up onto the 28th hold. Just moving on to this this volume above his head now. This is the 30th. A very strong climber, Manuel Roman, actually had an accident, falling off a lead wall and ended up with a carabiner going through his arm, I believe, and had to take some time out. His younger sister, Salome Roman, is another athlete who's becoming very well known. We saw her at the Youth World Cup over in, World Championships in Singapore just recently as well. A question in the chat room from Perky saying, any chance I can see this later? Yes, of course you can. It will all go over onto the YouTube channel. So you will be able to go over to the IFSC's YouTube channel. Most of the coverage already is up there and waiting for you if you want to go and watch it. Is there a time limit for looking at the route before starting to climb? From Jack there. Yes, Jack, there is a time limit at looking at the route. They all get their observation time. They don't get it individually. They are brought out in one mass group and then they are taken back away from the stage. And I believe it's 5 minutes. I think they get 5 minutes. At the bottom of the wall, as we were talking earlier, it's very interesting to see who pairs up with who when they're talking through. And you get a lot of mime artists at the bottom of the wall doing these strange gestures while they're looking at it, trying to discuss how they're going to attempt to do it. Jack's saying, no, you mean directly just before they climb. Do they get any time to look at the wall just before they climb? No, they get the 8 minutes. I mean, if they want to start using some of those 8 minutes by just standing at the bottom and looking at the route, they can. But it's quite a long route. It's 57 holds and an 8C in terms of difficulty. So the time is at the beginning only, really, that they would spend looking at the wall. So that is unfortunately it for Manuel Roman. Another couple of questions coming in on the chat room. Does anybody know what happened to Shauna Coxey? Well, another reason for you to go back and have a look at some of the replays is there has actually been 2 or 3 different interviews with Shauna so far. I managed to capture. I think she's getting a little bit tired of me hijacking her conversations while she's trying to talk to people, because I just appear and shove a microphone in front of her. But yes, we've talked a lot recently, also in Munich as well, about Shauna Cox's incident when she broke her leg. That was actually out in Magic Woods. She was doing some bouldering out there, and she jumped off after she topped. Actually, she didn't actually fall. She'd already topped the route, and then she jumped off and just landed funny and broke her leg. She's now off crutches and she's out of the cast. She was hoping to be back climbing in time for the World Championships, but unfortunately that has not been so. So we are not joined by her. Who we are joined by, though, is our next French athlete, Thomas Ballet, who now comes to join us. Well, just an update for you guys now as we move in after this event here that we're watching currently now. I will bring us back onto the wall in a few moments' time. I know a lot of you are asking to keep discussing the climbing itself as opposed to the competition as a whole. But just to update you guys out there watching us, as we move into the rest of the day, we will be transferring over to coverage from the French television company that is coming in, French TV, to cover the event here. We will be taking the feed from them. I will be joined by Sheila again later on today, I have no doubt of that, and the commentating will still be live, so you'll be able to talk to us here as we go through the competition. We are not covering the opening ceremony as was previously mentioned, and that is due to the fact that the French TV company are still setting up their cameras to be ready to cover all of the events later on tonight for you and bring you the best possible coverage. But we will still be here, so do come back and join us a little later on. I'll obviously give you an update on times that will be with you, because we're in for a long one tonight, guys. We've got a couple of finals to come as well. There's 4 more events that we are covering after this one today, so stay with us. Well, this is Thomas Ballet now. He's currently got a left hand on the 25th hole, and as soon as he touches it with the right hand, which he just has, that becomes the 26th, because it's actually a joint hold. That entire feature there with the 2 holes, the piggyback holes that are screwed onto the volume there, that as in its entirety is 25 and 26. It's a joint hold there. And this is Thomas Ballet as we watch him make his attempt on this 8C route difficulty. He's currently now up onto the 32nd hold, and now pushing up to the point that we've seen our athletes being cut off. It was either at this point or over at the 41st to 42nd hold, which is just over to his left now. You see him actually just bypassing a couple of holds there. He's probably going to switch there now and use them. There it is. He's going to need to get a bit more slack actually on the rope there, because it looks quite taut actually. And we've seen a couple of athletes getting to Thomas Tauporn for one, getting his legs tangled as he was trying to turn round on this volume that's sticking out over the overhang. The wall is 33 degrees inclined, guys, so it's quite steep. A lot of pressure on the arms there. You can see the rope is very taut on his arm there. Moving on to these next 2 holds now. These are the 2 holds. The one just above his head. He's got one right hand on. This next one as well. These 2 holds, very, very shallow. Indeed, we've seen a lot of athletes struggling to hold on there, but he looks quite firm with his fingers at the moment here. He's got 2 heel hooks going on around this hold, and he's got to figure out a way to get onto these the penultimate section of the wall, which looks flat but actually isn't. It is still inclined, so he's got to get round onto that section just above him. I can tell you that the one that you can see just above his left hand now, that's the 41st hold, and that is the move that we've seen our athletes falling at when they try to push for it. And exactly what we were just talking about there, at exactly the point we were talking about, running into some problems on the wall. Thomas Ballet does unfortunately come down from there. I would imagine that would be around 41 in terms of the overall score there. For Thomas Ballet, still plenty more climbers to come though. The reason that Andre hasn't appeared in the rankings is because Andre hasn't actually competed yet on this coverage that's coming up. Oh, I see. There's a question about the rankings over on the World Cup rankings. That's because he hasn't actually competed in any of the World Cups this year. He's been out on rock a lot of the time, spending more time over there. But he'll be with us very, very shortly, guys. Well, that's the route there. That's the tricky bit we were just talking about. It's dividing the climbers as to who's getting up from 41 to 42. And this is roughly the highest point we've seen any of our athletes get to. It's that hold there, the 46th and 47th hold. I believe 48 plus was the highest we saw anyone get to. And that was Jorg Verhoeven earlier. When we were watching him there, what a surprise to see him pushing up there. Here is Stefano Ghisolfi now, another young athlete. I can tell you, some of you are asking what the women's lead was for the semi-finals. That was an 8B plus, guys, not an 8C plus. It was an 8B plus. We were here with an 8C here for the lead. Stefano Ghisolfi then, the 19-year-old athlete, lives in Torino, world ranked 15th at 19 years old. That just goes to show what we are saying earlier with Sheila about age not mattering. We look at athletes like Cecile Avezou, who's 40 years old and has had 3 children. Age definitely not factoring into it too much. As we see this, our 19-year-old athlete Stefano Ghisolfi move out onto the lead wall. 15th on the world rankings. The World Cup ranking 2012 is 10th. The World Cup ranking at the end of 2011 was 24th, and the year before that in 2010 he ended up in 21st. I can tell you that of his top 12 results, there is not one of them below 6th, but they are mainly in the male juniors speed and male juniors lead categories. As he's moved through that one, he did come 6th at Briançon though, and that was this year, so he's definitely stepping up his game as he makes his move into the senior category. His second place at the male juniors lead European Youth Cup in lead in Imst in Austria this year as well. So of this year already, he's had a 5th place, and that was at Voiron. He had a 6th place at Briançon and a 2nd place at Imst this year, so he's had a podium position already in the male juniors lead. He's currently up on the 24th hold. He's going to pop onto this, that's the 25th, and as soon as he puts a second hand on that hold, it becomes the 26th. a question from Pimst asking how many we take through into the semis. It is 26, guys. We have 26 through to the semis and then 8 through for the finals. 26 through to the semis and 8 through to the finals. If you're asking about bouldering, it's 6 through to the finals. If you want to watch any of the coverage, go over to IFSC's YouTube channel and you can have a look there at who exactly is making it through into those finals that we'll start to bring you later on today. I hope all of you are well and you're all enjoying the coverage here. We're here with Stefano Ghisolfi, our Italian climber. Punter, what an interesting question. Who is the best climber in the world? I think there's preferences on that one. In terms of the rankings, you're looking at probably Anna Storr. Kilian Fischuber has held a first or second place ranking on the World Cup rankings since 2006. That's 6 years in either first or second place rankings. But in terms of the best climber, I think that can only be a personal preference. I mean, you want to look at rankings, then fine, and you can see who is the highest ranked climber in the world. But I think it's more of a preference thing. A lot of people prefer different athletes. And some of my favourites include actually Kim Jae-in, who's one of my favourite climbers to watch. She's also one of the highest ranked climbers as well. But it depends what category as well, guys. There's speed, who is the best climber in the world. Well, currently it's Quixing Zong of China. Did 15-meter speed wall in 6.26 seconds. So you're looking at a beast there when it comes to speed climbing. And when you're looking at bouldering, you've got Sean McCall coming up as well. Unfortunately, that's Stefano Ghisolfi coming off on around the 40th hold there. So we are losing him, not making it up to the top one. And then, yes, of course, I can see Giorgio joining us in the chat room. Ramon Julian is definitely one to watch out for as well. Another hugely appreciated climber. Some of you talking about the overall World Cup number one. It was Sean McCall you're saying there. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there because the overall World Cup depends on which category you're in. The overall World Cup number one this year for bouldering was, of course, Rustam Galmanov. And we had that happening. I know a lot of you are fans of Adam Ondra and other athletes. Well, there's Jorg Verhoeven, and there is Tim, who is one of our IFSC officials, having a conversation there. Jorg Verhoeven currently in the lead, remember, guys. There is a combined overall, yes, and that's on the world rankings. So if you're looking at the world rankings, you can have a look there. And we are joined by a fantastic new climber now. This is one of my favourite climbers, actually, when you're talking about who is the best and who is the favourites. Sachi Ama, an absolutely phenomenal athlete. Sachi, we saw over in Briançon, split his chin open on the wall, and one of the things I like saying about Sachi is that he never stops smiling. Indeed, his chin was smiling for him as the blood poured from it when he split his chin on the wall at Chamonix. But he just never stops smiling until he gets on the wall and then becomes very concentrated. But yes, Sachi Ama of Japan, what an incredible athlete he is and what an incredible name he's making for himself. Questions from people coming in now. Are we doing interviews with Jorg? Well, this event already happened, guys, so the athletes aren't actually allowed in the arena right now, especially the higher ranked athletes, because we're resetting for the finals, remember? So they're not allowed in here, so I can't catch them right now. But I will catch them as we move into the finals. Do not fear, I'll be down on the ground having chats with people and making sure that you get to see them close up and have a discussion with them as well. Very interesting way of phrasing it there from Niba, like saying who is the best chef. Asking who is the best climber in the world is like saying who is the best chef in the world. I think that's a perfect way of describing it. But here we are with Sachi Ama. So yes, Sachi Ama Another young athlete, only 22 years old, world ranked second at the moment. Now on the World Cup ranking so far for this year, he is first. Now he won over in in Chamonix, he won over in Briançon as well, and he came third in Imst so far this year. He also came fourth at Chongqing this year as well. So of the 4 that he has competed in this year, the 4 lead events that we have had, Sachi has podiumed at 3 of them and won 2 of them. And that just goes to show what kind of an athlete you're looking at right now. Sachiyama just unstoppable when he gets on the wall. And it's also impossible to stop him from smiling when he's not on the wall. And that's what I was saying earlier about him splitting his chin open in Briançon. He actually went to hospital for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then came back and won the competition. So talk about dedication, guys. Well, Sachi now up on the 32nd hold. Sachiyama of Japan moving around the left-hand side of the bulge and over to this dreaded spot, the one that we know has been causing some problems for the athletes thus far in the competition. Well, he's moving over onto this overhang now. He's going to have the moment to have a slight relief, if you can call it that, with some of these larger holds. There you can see he's using it with one hand there. Those 2 moments, and there he is taking a rest and chalking up. Again, this is the moment we've seen a lot of our athletes pause at before he moves on to these pinches. Although there isn't 2, it's not technically a pinch, there isn't 2 holds next to each other. They are all about getting the fingers and jamming the fingers in. Hardly anything there. You can see he's using 3 fingers on that one there, and he's resting his entire body strength on a toe hook and 3 fingers. Sachiyama, well, he's having a rest here. Let's see whether he can push up onto the final sections of the wall. That's what I know. That's what I want to know is going to happen now. I know you guys want to see that from Sachi. It'd be great to have him with us in the final. So Yo supporting Sachiyama now as he moves on to this point on the wall. This is what we were talking about earlier. That's the 47th hold there. Reaching up for the 48. This is Jorg Verhoeven's point, remember. This transfer really having to bear into that incline there. You can see exactly what I'm on about when I'm saying that wall that looks flat isn't actually flat, and then it gets even steeper, and you can see just how hard that is as Sachiyama pushes into it, comes down and isn't smiling for once because he's baffled by how he was supposed to bear into that corner, that contraction there. He is a relatively tall climber as well, so there was a problem for him there, and unfortunately he comes down. But what a great result there for Sachi, a score of 49 plus I think he was on. But there you can see the wall in all of its glory as we look on there, and what a long route that is. It starts down there on the bottom right, pans across the underside of the bulge in the middle on a diagonal route, and then ends up at the top left hand side of the wall. And I thought there was some potential there to see Sachi going all the way, but he is now equal with Jorg. Well, here is the gentleman that you have all been waiting for. In a few moments' time, you will see him coming out onto the stage. I know a lot of you are wanting to see this climb. Well, it is coming up now. Jack here in the chat room supporting him. People asking, how did McCall do? Well, actually, Sean McCall hasn't climbed yet, guys. We are waiting for McCall to come out. And remember also as well, we don't want anyone who does know the results letting any of us know. Because this is a pre-recording. It's happened earlier today, and I will warn you now, it has already happened once today. We are kicking people out of the chat and off the stream indeed. if they're starting to tell people about it. And I said this earlier today as well, you can tell when one of the greats is coming out because they always have to wave to the crowd before they're allowed to start on the wall. That's not a law, that's just something that they have to do to deal with the amount of support that is there, and asking to see him, and you can see there's a lot of you asking to see him in the chat room as well. Mary, do not stress, Jakob Schubert is still to come as well. We've still got quite a few very well-known climbers still coming out now. Now this guy is renowned in the climbing world for his unusual style. You can see already he is like a spider moving up these walls. Adam Ondra now takes to the wall. Started climbing at a very early age, Adam Ondra, then came out into the World Cups and was the first climber ever to take the title in both lead and bouldering. And then this year he disappeared and we didn't know what was happening. I was expecting to see him at the bouldering over in Log Dragon Mill when we kicked that off at the start this year. He wasn't there. And that's because he's been out doing some climbing on rock and experiencing that a little bit more. It's worth noticing, guys, that this climber is only 19 years old and is quite possibly one of the most famous climbers, if not the most well-known climber around the world. He's up there with Kilian Pashuba, and other climbing greats as well. He's only 19 years old, guys. He was born in 1993 in Brno. So the World Cup ranking at the end of 2010 was 3rd, and then in 2011 all the way down to 57th. But looking at his 12 best results, not one of his 12 best results is lower than a podium position. And I don't get to say that very often, guys. I don't get to say that very often. Not one of his top 12 best results is lower than a podium position. So just looking at some of those previous results, for one he was silver medal at the World Championships in Arco last year, so he's going to be looking to improve on that this year at this World Championships, and that was in the bouldering. Also took a 3rd place there in the lead in the World Championships in Arco 2011 as well. 2nd at Cranj in the lead there, and 3rd at Pers in 2010. 1st place at Zinning and Munich. Zinning in the lead, Munich in the bouldering, and then 2 other 1st places in bouldering in Sheffield and in Moscow in 2010. So what a year he had there. You can see the flexibility. He's very spindly. I think it's probably the best way to describe Adam Ondra. Adam Ondra, as we saw earlier actually, one of the French athletes come out and have a problem staying in that split. Not so for Ondra. The thing that baffles me about Ondra is that the muscle structure that you see on certain climbers just isn't there on Ondra. Look how thin Adam Ondra is. Of course that makes him lighter, and so there's not really ever an ideal weight or ideal height for climbing, but he just looks like he'd never get off the ground, and then he turns into this spider that just transcends the wall. Well, this is the point exactly that I'm talking about. He's now pushing up onto the 45th hold now. 45th hold in his right hand. He's pinching that one there as he reaches up to the 46th and 47th, guys. He's now approaching the point where we're going to see him start to match what we saw earlier with Jorg Verhoeven and also Sachi Ama a few moments ago. What are we thinking here, guys? We've got Phil in the chat room saying this is going to be a top. What do we think? Ra saying, I think Ondra will get bigger as he ages. Yeah, do we think Ondra also sheds his skin every few years? He is like a spider. But here he is now pushing up onto the 48th hold. There it is. And let's see him now, whether he can push and make this next move. He's bared into that very well indeed, and that gives him the 49th hold. He has got the 49th. Look how comfortable he looks there on that point compared to how uncomfortable we saw some of our other athletes like Sachiyama, who couldn't quite get the compression. And unfortunately his hand slips off, and he I'm not sure whether that's anger or whether that's kind of like half laughing. Yeah, let's see. There you are, not too bad a response there from Adamandra when he gets down on the floor. An incredible climb though, the furthest climber so far on the wall, and that currently in the competition puts him in first place. First place after all the other athletes that we've seen so far. Adamandra from the Czech Republic. An astounding athlete. Well, there he is having a conversation on the side of the mat, Adamandra, with some of the other climbers at the base of the wall. What are we thinking then, guys that are joining us in the chat room? Who are we thinking is going to make it through into our finals? If you're watching us in the future, I do apologise, you won't be able to participate in this chat, but you will be able to participate in every other event we bring to you, and you go out and find them by going on to IFSC's homepage, or also indeed 24/7's homepage, and you can see what we are covering over the next few years, if indeed this is in the future. Hello from the past from IFSC.tv. An interesting point to be made there by Raja in the chat, saying, I don't understand why people are saying that he should gain some weight. Adam has freaky, strange characteristics, and those make him who he is. I love his style and his character. Adam is good as he is. I think that's something that I'm going to completely back as well there. Cedric Lechat now, one of our athletes that competes in all three of the categories here. He's 28 years old, from Switzerland, Cedric Lechat. And he is competing in all three disciplines. Another master here. We saw him yesterday in the men's bouldering semi-finals be one of the first athletes to figure out how to solve problem 2, and just couldn't quite get there within the amount of time allowed. Couldn't quite get to the top on problem 2. Which is such a shame, but yes, he did a fantastic job yesterday on the slab. Thank you for saying that to us there, Phil. Nice to see you joining us. Remember, any questions that you might have, do send them in to us. Welcome if you are joining us. My name is Daniel Finn. We are currently into our second section of coverage for today, second of 6. We have been broadcasting to you since 10 o'clock this morning. It is now 4 o'clock, and we have had roughly an hour break, so we've been broadcasting for quite a while now to you guys live on the web, and this is only the second of 6, guys. We're going to be aiming to wrap things up at about 11 o'clock Central European time, maybe 11:15 Central European time here. So if you are joining us, get yourself whatever you need to strap yourself in for the evening. But we are here with Cedric Lechat now, moving on to the 26th hold. And here he is moving around over this, under this bulge on the wall. So Rasta asking how many are going to pass in this discipline. That's 8. Thank you, Basha, for being ahead of me on that one, getting in there. So yes, in the lead, we take 26 through into the semi-finals, and then we only take 8 through to the finals as well. I had to pause there because Bash has answered another question for me as well. Bash, come down and do some co-commentary with me, because Bash has just beat me to that one. 28 years old indeed, Cedric Lechat, as he now makes his way onto this cut-off point. Let's see whether we think that this seasoned athlete is going to have a problem at the point. We've seen some of our younger athletes struggling. The point just to the left of his left leg at present. He's actually smearing there. He's not toe hooking, which he's able to do. He's smearing on his with his feet. There's a heel hook. Well, Cedric comes down there. You can see a little bit of applause coming from the crowd. Looking relatively sparse here at the bottom of the wall. Quite a few athletes and coaches and teams, and some of the members from the public joining us here for the bouldering semi and lead semi. But nowhere near what we are about to see later on tonight. There's Thomas Tauporn walking around at the bottom of the wall. You can see him in the green hoodie just there. And also in the background was Guillaume as well, the French athlete that we unfortunately lost in the bouldering. Ra asking what time is it in Paris right now. It is currently 5 minutes past 4 over here. I think there was another question in the chat room there a few moments ago as well, saying actually no, it's a shout out. You want to say hello to Clipstick from Phil in the chat room. Well, there you are. There's a shout out to you guys. So Thomas Tauporn, I imagine you're talking about Thomas Tauporn over in Log Dragon there. You must be, I think, because I think that's the overall, the only podium position that we've seen so far this year. And on the wall now is not Cedric Lechat, it's actually Magnus Midtbo. This is Magnus Midtbo, the Norwegian climber. His sister was out earlier today in the semi-finals for the women's bouldering, Hannah Midtbo. This is Magnus Midtbo now out on the wall, number 37. I had a chat to him actually just after this climb earlier, because it was about the time that we just finished covering the bouldering for you, who's at the bottom of the wall, watching some of the other climbers that are coming out after him, after he was let out of isolation. If you don't know Magnus Midtbo, you should go and check him out over on the ifsc-climbing.org page, because he's well worth knowing. Time and time again pushing into the finals, and you can see that from this year alone. Finals in Chamonix he took 5th, Briançon he took 4th, and Imst he took 4th as well. So he does frequently make it into the finals. On the World Cup ranking so far this year, he's currently sitting in 4th place. On the world ranking, he's 9th, and he's only 24 years old. Magnus Midtbo from Norway. Max Climbing asking, has Magnus Midtbo climbed yet? Well, climbed being conclusive, no, not yet, because he's on your screen right now. Max Climbing, this is Magnus Midtbo, not Cedric Lechat. Cedric Lechat, sorry. And there he is, Magnus Midtbo from Norway. Now on the 21st hold. an interesting point there from somebody in the chat room, and I have to say it just purely because it's made me laugh. Jack saying his forearms are bigger than the average baby's head. Don't get too excited, guys. That wasn't a dance fun fact. That was just somebody in the chat room posting an interesting point. Magnus Bitbo, a very strong climber, a very easy-going style, and that is because of the way he likes to think of climbing and use his mindset to his advantage. And his mindset when he does come onto doing these kind of events is to worry about it afterwards. He's very much a man who is an advocate for promoting the enjoyment of climbing, even at a competition stage. For him, he's saying that the best climbing comes when you lose yourself in a moment and don't worry about what's happening. And you can see him here just checking on the wall. He seems a little bit flustered, to be honest, actually, from Magnus, but a little bit shaky on his right leg there. You can see the shake coming in. Is he going to be able to bear up onto this wall? Yes, just secures that with his right hand, but he's looking shaky here. Unusual to see him like that. That right leg's really going. He's going to have to get off that toe hold in a few moments. And he's managed to hold on to it here. You can see him moving up onto the 46th and 47th hold. Magnus Midtbø now, as I was saying, yeah, he's one of those climbers that likes to be able to lose himself in a moment. He's definitely having to focus here in this moment. He's trying to push up here. This would already put him in 4th place. Let's see if he can get any higher. Unfortunately not. So that leaves Magnus at the end of his climb there with a score of 46 plus, as he was just popping up onto the 47th hold. Magnus Midtbø, unfortunately, there not quite getting as high. And a shout out to Dry Tooler as well for his or her kind words for us here at IFSC.tv. Thank you for being with us, Dry Tooler. I hope you are all enjoying the coverage. An interesting point from Najat as well in the chat room, saying my hands are sweating like mad. Yeah, I get that. I get the occasional build of pressure when you're watching something and you are there, living in the moment. High Crux agreeing with you there as well. It's just one of those things that you definitely can get carried away with watching these guys. You get nervous for them. And Magnus definitely had a moment there, didn't he, as he was pushing up onto the final section of the wall where it looked like Magnus was going to go. And not actually make it onto that final section. Well, guys, our next athlete is out on the wall. This is not Magnus Midtbø now that we're watching. We are with our next athlete, and that is of France, a man who needs very little introduction. Again, Romain Desgrange comes out onto the wall. Another master now, guys. We're moving into the highest through from the qualifications into the semis. We're going to just see these guys going higher and higher, getting better and better as we move through here. So no doubt right now, Jorg Verhoeven, Sachi Ama through to the final, I would imagine, with not that many climbers still left to come out onto the wall. But I would imagine some of the climbers that are split off at around the 42nd hold point are going to be feeling very, very nervous around this point in the competition. We are now with Romain Desgrange of France, making his climb here. 29 years old, from Sainte-Colombe. Is 1982 he was born in, and just to go through the world rankings and the rankings so far, we have him with a 5th place world ranking overall at present. The World Cup ranking for 2012 currently stands at 6th. At the end of 2011 he was 5th. And at the end of 2010 he was 11th. But looking at some of the results from this year alone, Chamonix 8th place, so made it to the final. Briançon 5th place, so made it to the final, and Imst 7th place, so made it to the final. So of the 3 competitions competed at this year in the lead, the ones that Romain has taken part of, he has made it through to the final. A very, very gifted athlete. Another very slim athlete as well, Romain. See him shaking out the hands there, really having to curl the hands onto those holds. The route setters have not let up at all on the athletes here. There really isn't a point at all really where you can rest. I mean, even that point we're talking about, you can just see it on the left hand side where that little feature is, the orangey like feature that's hanging out, jutting out from the overhang there. Even the one that he's just moved his foothold onto there, that he's grabbing with the right hand, with the left hand and the right hand, even this, it's not really, you can see there, you know, you might be able to pivot on it, but it's not, and there he is pausing on it, but it's not really a rest. The route setter is headed by Adam Pol, the Polish route setter, who is now currently out actually in the main arena getting set for the finals later on this evening as well. He's the head route setter for the lead discipline. Romain now pushing up onto the tricky part, but managing to stick to the wall. That's the 43rd hole, 44th. Romain Desgrange with a smile there at the bottom of the wall. An extremely talented climber. What do we think, guys? We think we're going to see him through into the final. Remember, if you are joining us in the chat room, let's keep our attention turned onto the climbing that we're watching here. After all, that is why we are here, guys. Welcome if you are joining us here on IFSC.tv. Welcome also if you are joining us on YouTube. If you are joining us on YouTube, do pop over and join us on IFSC.tv as well, where you're able to take part in the live chat. My name is Daniel Finn, and I'll be with you all the way through the World Championships here. We are now waiting for our next climber, and there you can see I've just updated the name for you, so we can see who is going to be the next athlete coming out. And that is Sean McCall. Now, what are we thinking about Sean McCall? I've developed a nickname for Sean McCall over the past few competitions, and that is Born on a Wall McCall. And he's about to come out now and show us what he can do with this 8C difficulty route. There he is. As I said, with the ones that are in the higher ranking of the senior athletes, always have this thing of having to give a wave to the crowd before they get up onto the wall, because they have a lot of support from people, and they also know they're being watched. Sean actually co-commentated with me through the World Youth Championships over in Singapore just recently. If you want to get your hands on that, go over onto the IFSC's YouTube channel and have a little look at that. Sean commentated through the Singapore World Youth Championship finals with me, we were running around down on Sentosa Beach. All the way through that competition. It was a lovely competition. Very hot, very humid, very wet. We got rained off a couple of times as well. Very wet. We had a thunderstorm while we were out there. But yes, Sean McCall. Just some random facts about Born on a Wall McCall. He's actually a classically trained pianist, so those hands are very strong anyway from being also a musician. He is from Canada, and I know that there's a lot of you that would say that all Canadians speak French. It's not actually a true fact, but Sean does speak fluent French. And yeah, he looks like he's some sort of magician at the moment. These hands are so heavily chalked up. It's unreal, but that's kind of like a trademark for him. And definitely has been making a name for himself this year. I mean, I know that I get a lot of stick from the guys that are watching back at the head office of our 24/7 company for talking about Sean McCall so much. The problem is he's around so much. He's competing in every single competitive category here, in the lead, in the bouldering, and in the speed. He's only 25 years old. His world ranking is 4th at the moment. His current World Cup ranking for 2012 is 5th, and his World Cup ranking for the end of 2011 is 6th, and that is up between 2010 to 2011. 2010 he was ranked 43rd. 2011 he was 6th. His current ranking this year for 2012 is 5th, and his world ranking is 4th. So that just goes to show he is one of those climbers that is getting used to podiuming, and this is why in 2012, in the bouldering, 3rd place at Innsbruck, 2nd place at Vale. In the lead, 3rd place at Chamonix, 2nd place at Briançon, 2nd place at Munich. That is this year alone. And yes, an interesting point from Vince. He is currently with Mathilde Becerra, one of the other climbers, one of the female climbers from female categories. Well, here we are. Sean now onto that point on the wall, the 46th and 47th hold. Let's see whether he can push up and get higher than Magnus Midbo did a few moments ago, and also Jörg Verhoeven, and we've also seen Sachiyama hit this point on the wall as well. So let's see what Sean does here. And as you were saying, yes, he's definitely much more fluid at moving here at this point in the game than Magnus is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the highest hold so far today. And let's see what Sean's going to be able to do with this one now as he bears round to the right. Now that's the point that Adam Ondra came off the wall on. Adam Ondra is currently sitting in gold medal position. I'm saying that this is still the semis, but he's the highest ranked going through to the finals. Sean managing to stick that hold and just trying to pop up, but he loses it there on the penultimate hold. Shaking out the arms as he comes down there, but still very, very calm as he does come down from the wall. But that has outdone Adam Ondra. Sean McCall there with an overall score of 54 plus as he was popping up onto the next hold. There is 57 holds in total. That is the closest we have seen anyone come yet today to topping out there. Very few now left to come out. Jakob Schubert coming up though, and also Ramon Julien Poublanc coming out. So prepare yourself for those coming up as well. A question in the chat room saying there, how do you think this will affect his final in the evening? I'm guessing, HD, that you're asking me that in terms of whether the athletes are tired after it, because Sean is in the final for the men's bouldering category as well. So I think Sean is definitely a contender for the overall title at the championship here, because he is doing all three. He's not particularly great at speed, I will say that, but he's exceptionally gifted in both bouldering and in lead. Very, very strong in both of those categories. I imagine Sean will be very, very tired when he moves through it, but I do know that Sean's been doing a lot of endurance training recently. and developing stamina, because he's doing a lot of lead training, because we now move from the bouldering season into the predominantly lead-based season with the IFSC's coverage. So I know he's been doing a lot of disciplined lead training. I know he's a training machine. It's all he ever does. He's very committed to his training, so I imagine that he's got enough stamina to push through into the bouldering final later on tonight. And what a climb he started off with there, with a score of 54 plus, currently the highest point reached on the wall. But now we are joined by our next athlete coming out, and that is another man, and I know I keep saying it, but they really don't need introductions from me. It's Ramon Julien Poublanc, who now joins us on the wall for Spain. Ramon Julien, a very, very well-known athlete. Let's hear what you guys are thinking in the chat room about this climb, and And remember, guys, as we move through into our last section of climbers, what I've been saying as we've been watching this coverage, as it isn't actually currently live, this is a recording that we made earlier whilst we were covering the women's bouldering. No spoilers, please. We don't want to know anything about any of the climbers or any of the results from this event, as some of us haven't seen it yet. For example, me. I haven't seen it yet, and I want to know exactly what happens and which of these climbers are going to be making it through into the final. Remember that we have already kicked out a couple of guys in the chat room and banned them from the stream for letting us know how this event ends. But we are now back with Ramon Julien Poublanc, very, very well known climber from Spain, currently on the 17th and 18th hold. Ramon had an interesting year so far this year, actually, Ramon. He is the world rank number 3. And at the end of 2010, he was World Cup ranked 1st. At the end of 2011, he was World Cup ranked 2nd. And currently, during 2012, he's 3rd. And his world ranking is also 3rd as well. Imst was an interesting one, made it to the final there, but ended up coming 5th, which is not something you're used to seeing at all. But worth remembering, guys, 2011 current world champion. This is Ramon Julien Poublanc, current world champion. He took the gold in Arco last year in 2011. So world championships is where he is used to excelling. We are sure to see that happen as we move through the competition here as well. So welcome if you are joining us, welcome to IFSC.tv. If you are joining us on YouTube, welcome to you there as well. Currently streaming in high definition, so you're going to see some really crisp images, nice and close up of the coverage here at the World Championships in Bercy. My name is Daniel Finn, and I'm going to be with you all the way through the World Championships here. I will also be joined at random stages, surprise visits, I'm going to start calling them, by Sheila McCarran, who we saw out in Briançon this year and also last year. She's emceeing the event here at the World Championships, but she's going to be coming and joining me for a chat as well. Sheila speaks fluent French and also quite a bit of German as well. So you guys will be able to pose some questions to her that I would not normally be able to answer. I do speak very basic German and bits of most of the languages, but nowhere near the level of Sheila. So let's bring back onto the wall now Ramon Julien as he approaches this tricky point around the 40th and 41st hold. A question from Verley. What is my day job? Interesting. Well, this is my day, night, 24/7 job. This is what we do for hours and hours. We've already been streaming for 10, maybe even 12 hours, I think. That was yesterday. We are now at 4:30 here today. We've been streaming since 10 o'clock this morning, Central European time. So this is what I do, guys. Any questions you might have, do send them in to me, and I'll do my utmost to get answers for you. Now, Ramon Julien, seasoned master. Exceptionally small, actually, Ramon Julien. Now I'm 6'1", and I stood next to him for the first time at Briançon, and actually had a translator with me to have a brief interview with Ramon. If you're interested in seeing that interview, go over and get onto the IFSC's YouTube channel. It's all on there, guys, if you want to see any of the past coverage of these guys climbing at previous World Cups. And yeah, and I stood next to him, and yeah, I was stunned that he is the height that he is, but he obviously knows how to use it to his advantage, because you were looking at the current world champion, actually, in fact. Very, very strong climber. Currently matching the 46th and 47th point, which is what his left hand is on at the moment now. If he moves up just a little bit further, he'll have surpassed Jörg Verhoeven and also Sachiyama. Just Sean McCall and Adam Ondra ahead of him. Well, here we are now with Ramon as he moves on to the final section of the wall here. This is the point that we saw Adam Ondra come down from the wall. Sean McCall just get a little bit higher than this. He's got a slab to work with just slightly there. He was contemplating smearing, but realised that there were footholds there. And look at that pop as he secures the 55th hold. Just a little switch now as he moves on to the 56th. There it is there, and that is a top, ladies and gentlemen, the only top we have seen so far today. And this just goes to show the standard of route setting that we are seeing here at the World Championships from Adam Pohl and the route setting team here. They said that a perfect route would be the one that is only topped by one climber. Well, so far we have only seen one top by one climber, so that is the standard of route we are looking at here, and that is the standard of climbing from Ramon, the current world champion, definitely set to show us that he wants to hold on to that title there. Ramon Julien Poublanc, definitely in the final. And how exciting was that as he powered towards the top there. So we're looking at Sean McCall, Ramon, definitely Ramon Julien, Adam Ondra. I believe Jörg is currently pretty high as well, and also Sachiyama. It's all going to rest on our next climber, and that is Jakob Schubert. But already we know that there will be Adam Ondra, there will be Ramon Julien, there will be Sean McCall. What a final this is turning out to be, and we are just about to be joined by Jakob Schubert. Now, I know a couple of you were having a look at an interview that I had with him, only on voice, but had a bit of a chat to him because he came and found us on day one when we first got here. Love chatting to Jakob, and he obviously likes talking to us because he came over and found us. If you're after that one, go and type in day one of the coverage of the World Championship. So just type in day one World Championship Paris 2012, and you can have a look at the very beginning of that day, and that is when Jakob came over and had a chat and was talking to us about his training and his life, and also his sister Hannah, and how well she's done over at the World Youth Championships. We're going to be seeing her moving over into the World Championships, I'm sure, in years to come. And how amazing would it be to see them both in the bouldering as well, both in a final, when we see athletes climbing side by side. If we could see brother and sister climbing side by side, that would be fantastic. But here he is in his specialty. Jakob not climbing in the bouldering in the World Championships, and I'm sure that's because he doesn't want to overdo it. He doesn't want to become too tired as he moves through the competition, which I know some of you were asking about that for Sean, because Sean's doing all 3 disciplines. You know, surely, as he's got a final later on today, actually, after we finish streaming you this, still to come, he must be feeling tired. Well, Jakob has made sure that he doesn't have to deal with that problem, and he's focusing on just taking the title for lead here. And yes, a question in the chat room there from Kat, as we've just seen Adam Ondra climb a few moments ago. What's happened to Ondra this year? Where has he been? Well, he's been only outdoor. Yes, that's an answer from Silent. Thank you very much for that. He's been climbing outdoor, and we haven't seen him in any of the World Cups. This is why he doesn't have a World Cup ranking this year. Well, here is Jakob as he makes the start of his climb here, currently on the 13th hold. Reaching forward to clip in. Well, thank you, Pio Trek, for updating us on that one about the route setter. I only know him as Adam, and we're all wearing these little name badges, and I believe that the reason that I am calling him Adam Pol is because I've spotted POL as the country's abbreviation on his name tag. It's actually Adam Pustelnik. But what a job he has been doing as head route setter here, and you can see, we said earlier, the perfect route is the one that is topped by only one athlete and then breaks down all the other athletes into different levels on the wall. We've seen that definitely so far. We're right towards the end now of our climbers coming out on the wall. We're currently with Jakob Schubert, and we have only seen one top all the way through this coverage. So thank you for the update on that one as well. Well, guys, just to give you an update of what is happening after we end up here, this is actually our last climber, Jakob Schubert. And if you want to find results for this and exactly what's happened, you can get over to ifsc-climbing.org. Get yourself over to ifsc-climbing.org, and there you can find all the results. Max Climbing, we're still not talking about who is in what at the moment. I know I've been having a bit of a chat about it, but we're still trying to keep it hush-hush for anyone that might be joining us right now towards the end of the stream. So if you are after results, get yourself over onto that website that I've just given you and have a look there at who is going to be joining us for the finals. Jakob Schubert now, so we're about to start wrapping things up. We will be taking a break then, so that I have a chance to actually stop talking for a little while, which I'm sure some of you might actually be happy about. for a little while, and I'll be back with you at 6:30 Central European Time. 6:30 Central European Time. I will be back with you guys. We are coming back to you at that time to start the coverage, and we'll be back with the French TV channels coverage. Jakob now pushing up onto the 48th hole. That's where his left hand is now, and bearing up to the 49th. He's going to have to start popping up, but you can see him shaking his hands out there. That is the lactic acid building up on this 33-degree incline wall. It's definitely going to be taking its toll on your arms by the time that you're reaching up to this point. A very long route, 57 holes all in all on this 8C route, and he's currently on the 48th. That makes the 49th, ladies and gentlemen, which means that he will be in the final, as he is the last athlete to climb for us today. And Graham Alderson, one of our IFSC, the IFSC technical delegate, has just dropped in the background and said, nice colour coordination from Jakob Schubert between his vest and the holds on the wall there. Wants to be one with the walls. This could be a top here, guys. A transfer coming on. Oh, just at the penultimate hold. Jakob loses it on the penultimate hold. 56 for Jakob. That was an incredible climb. Wrap things up as Jakob is about to leave. Telling you guys, I'm not going to go right now and give you a fun fact. You have to tune back in for the fun facts at 6:30. I'll be back with you then. Please do come and join us. That was the men's semi-finals for lead here at the Climbing World Championships. Go and get yourself whatever it is you need so that you can come back here as well. I'll see you soon. I've been Daniel Finn. See you shortly.
Today, Top 30 is the only company in the world able to design, produce, set up and manage a top-level competition. Everything within the same company, everything with the trustworthiness and professionalism that an official competition requires. Everything Top 30. Top 30.